Welcome in, y'all, to another edition of Right on Rangers Live, coming at you after a great, amazing, wonderful sweep of the Diamondbacks. And it is about time. This is the Rangers' first sweep of the year. Hard to believe that. Had to go back and check all the game logs myself, but really could not believe that this was the Rangers' first sweep of the season. We'll take it, even if it is just a 2-game set. We will absolutely take the Rangers winning both games over the Diamondbacks. Let's go. Rangers win this one 6-1. Really good to see them bounce back with a 3-game win streak after losing 6 games in a row last week. That was painful. Glad to see the Rangers on a little bit of a win streak here. And the Rangers will head to Miami next on Friday after an off day tomorrow. So before we get too far into it, we'll bring you all the highlights, the key moments, all the scoring situations, all that good stuff in just a little bit. But those of y'all that have been with us for a while here, you know the drill. But for anybody joining us for the first time, anyone new here at Right on Rangers, we cover basically everything sports, but we put a little bit of an extra emphasis on all the teams we love from the great state of Texas, including the Rangers and especially the Rangers during baseball season. Welcome in, y'all. Thank you for watching. Appreciate you liking, subscribing, following, all that good stuff. Means a lot that you're here with us. There's a lot of other things that you could be watching for Rangers content. Thank you for being here with us today. Well, Corey Seager, what can we say about that dude? Corey Seager, 8 home runs in 8 games for the Rangers shortstop, the World Series 2-time MVP. Corey Seager really, really heating up at the end of this month of May, and it is a beautiful thing to see, a beautiful thing to watch. Honestly, I was shocked that the Diamondbacks even bothered pitching to him in the spot that they did. Of course, Corey Seager goes deep in the bottom of the 5th inning. Once again, right? Last night, it was the bottom of the 5th inning, the 3-run bomb that gave the Rangers the lead. Now, bottom of the 5th inning today in the day game, Siegs extends the lead. It was 2-0. 2-out home run by Siegs. Really, really huge. You know that we've been harping on the Rangers' inability to score when they have 2 outs in those clutch situations and clutch moments when you need runs. The Rangers wouldn't say they've done the best job of scoring and coming through in the clutch. Of course, it's Corey Seager with 2 outs, hitting the big home run that ultimately helps to put the game out of reach. Really, because the Diamondbacks didn't score anything, I think technically the game-winning RBI goes to Jonah Heim, who scores Wyatt Langford from first base in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Jonah Heim, I believe, technically gets the game-winning RBI today. 1-0. That double in the bottom of the 3rd. Rangers never looked back after that moment. So great to see the Rangers scoring more than 4 runs. Let's kind of break it down little by little here. So in the bottom of the 3rd, Jonah Heim doubles on that line drive to left field. Great job by Jonah taking the pitch that he was given, which wasn't a strike. It was actually outside of the strike zone. Jonah Heim just takes the pitch to right field, slaps it down the line, and Wyatt Langford showing off that blazing speed. Langford with 2 hits today. Really, really good to see him coming through. He had another 2-out RBI as well. So Siegs comes through with 2 outs, hitting the home run in the bottom of the 5th inning. Langford came up in the bottom of the 8th inning with 2 outs, added on to the Rangers' lead to make it 6-0. He drove in Adolis Garcia on that line, on that line drive to left field. So, hey, we'll take it. Wyatt Langford, multi-hit day, kind of had been a little bit down on Wyatt Langford and on Evan Carter. I know a lot of Rangers fans have. I'm glad to see Wyatt Langford bounce back, have a multi-hit day today. That sure made a big, big difference in my mind, seeing him come out in his 2nd game and contributing and giving the Rangers a couple of hits from the bottom of the order today. Believe he was hitting in the 7th spot. So he goes 2 for 4 with the run scored and an RBI, again, showing off that blazing speed in the bottom of the 3rd on that Jonah Heim double. You love to see it. So continuing on, There were obviously a couple of moments in the game where the Diamondbacks did threaten, and let's just go right to those moments now. So we had probably the biggest spot, Dane Dunning on the mound, and believe it was the top of the fifth inning. Top of the fifth inning, the Diamondbacks had got runners on first and third. At this point, it was a 2-0 ball game. So very much still in reach for the Diamondbacks. Christian Walker, one of the most dangerous hitters for the Dbacks, up to bat. This is top of the fifth inning, runners on first and third. And Dane Dunning comes up with the strike 3 call. Christian Walker, kind of a tough call, if you ask me. If we go to that at bat and we take a look at it, really, really borderline pitch. I think if we're being honest, Dane Dunning got a little bit of a generous call. Do not believe that pitch that Christian Walker strikes out on, a sinker just a little bit outside, but we'll take it. There were some questionable calls really all day long on both sides, if we're being honest. So I really, really feel like, it's one of those moments where, yes, Rangers do get the benefit of the doubt. They get a little bit of a fortunate call there in the top of the fifth with Christian Walker up to bat. But I will say this, the Rangers, Wyatt Langford comes to mind, especially one of his first days back, gets rung up on a ball outside. So look, bad umpiring happened, I think, on both sides today. There were obviously some questionable calls, I think, going both ways. But Dane Dunning does get the benefit of the doubt. Christian Walker called strike 3. Big moment in the game where the Rangers are able to get out of a jam, and Dane Dunning in particular able to get out of that jam. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at Dane Dunning's line tonight. I think I tweeted out, I don't know if tweeted is the right verb anymore, X'd out on X. I said, Dane Dunning is just in love with the 2-out walk. I don't know how many 2-out walks Dane Dunning had today, but he was really playing with fire. He walked, I think, multiple guys with 2 outs today. 4 walks total on the day. Not an ideal line for Dunning in that regard, but at the end of the day, he strikes out 6, only allows 3 hits. So 7 base runners in 5 innings. Not terrible. We'll take that. 4 walks is a little bit high. I know that's something Dunning is going to want to improve upon. Bochy and Maddox are looking at that number. It's too many, especially with 2 walks. Nearly every time Dunning walked a man with 2 outs, hits followed to extend the inning out. And it's a big reason why Dunning sometimes does have issues going deeper in games. When you're walking guys with 2 outs, it does lead to early exits. So Dunning today, in terms of the number of pitches, looks like Dunning got up to 92 pitches in 5 innings. That's tough, right? You're not really, in my opinion, doing your complete job as a starter when you're only going 5 and you're throwing 90 plus in 5 innings. The walks definitely played a part in that. I really think if you're wanting Dunning to make that next step, I think the next step is consistently getting into the 6th and 7th inning. That's really what I'd like to see out of Dunning. Now, if we look at the stats, Dunning has been blanking the Diamondbacks for the past 2 times that he's seen them. So the last time was in the World Series. I looked up the stats. Dunning went, I think, 3 1/3 in the World Series against the Diamondbacks. No earned runs. So Dane Dunning, his last 8 1/3 innings against the Diamondbacks, throwing shutout baseball. We're not going to harp on him too much. The walks definitely contributed to him not being able to go a little bit deeper in the game. And it was disappointing today to see the Rangers have to use so many arms. I know there's an off day tomorrow, but really unfortunate that the Rangers had to burn Robertson and Yates today. I kind of felt like this was a day where you probably could have stood not to use those guys. Unfortunately, Tinoco gets into a little bit of a tough spot. I didn't mind going to Tinoco with a 4-run lead. I'll definitely take that. The last time, of course, Tinoco came into the ball game, y'all heard me go off because it was a 2-run game and the Rangers were in the midst of a pretty big losing streak. That was not the time to get Jesus Tinoco into the ball game. I'll take a 4-run lead at home with the Rangers looking pretty dominant over the Dbacks up to this point. Tinoco not able to completely finish the job. I think he actually had a pretty solid day, didn't walk anybody, did give up a couple of hits there. I believe it was in the eighth inning, was it? I think it was the eighth inning. Got into a little bit of a jam there. Robertson comes in, gives up an additional hit, but able to get out of that inning without any runs scored. So, look, obviously, we'll take the win. We kind of like to nitpick and give our little criticisms and critiques here and there. It's a lot easier to do that when the Rangers win the ball game. But it would have been nice not to have burned Robertson and Yates today. Going into the off day tomorrow, I would have loved to have had 2 full days of rest for those guys. We do have what I would say a fortunate series coming up with the Marlins, but you know what? I better knock on wood right now, because the last time I said this, when we were going to Colorado, I kind of assumed that the Rangers had a series win in the bag, and it couldn't have been more untrue. So I am not going to say too much going into this Miami series. We all know what the Miami Marlins record is right now, and if you don't, it's not good. We all know what the Rangers are looking like on paper and what they should do to the Miami Marlins, but this is baseball. It's not always a done deal. Nothing's a sure shot. It just all has to be played out within the 9 innings. Now, again, on paper, should the Rangers go to Miami and have some success? Absolutely. Are we right now confidently going to predict a Rangers sweep in Miami? No, absolutely not. But we'll be more than happy if it does end up happening. But the Rangers will get an off day tomorrow, head to Miami, and then they will return back to Arlington for a 3-game set with the Detroit Tigers before another off day on Thursday. So the Rangers here in the next week, 2 different off days. So the Rangers have really been fortunate getting these off days, a little bit of a plethora of them here in the month of May. Really good for the bullpen. Again, would have been nice if some of our key guys in the pen could have gotten a couple of days of extended rest. You had to burn Leclerc today, Robertson, Yates, although Robertson and Yates each pitched a very, very minimal amount of pitches. Robertson 7, Yates 3. So not the worst situation. You have Robertson and Yates throwing single-digit pitches today. I think that's the silver lining as you look at this. But the Rangers bullpen, once again, goes 4 innings. Did give up 6 hits today. The bullpen did. Only 1 walk. I love that number. So in 4 innings, only 1 walk. And the Rangers additionally struck out 4. So the bullpen stat line, 4 innings pitched, 6 hits, 1 walk, and 5 strikeouts. We'll take it. Latz really got into trouble in the 9th inning. The game was never really in doubt or anything like that. So we're not trying to be over dramatic by any means. But it sure would have been nice if Latz could have closed things out. Dbacks got, I think, 3 hits in a row off of him in the 9th inning, and that's kind of what forced Yates into the ball game. So unfortunate that Latz comes in, isn't able to slam the door shut. Yates has to come in and kind of do that job for him. But look, again, these are all little criticisms in the big picture. The Rangers got a win. It was a pretty dominant win if you are just looking at the box score, especially. But even as you watch the game, there were a couple of moments there. Like I said, top of the 5th inning, Christian Walker up with 2 runners on. Rangers had a 2-run lead at that point. It did look a little bit dicey at that point, but I will say the game never really felt completely in doubt. So Rangers really cleaned up against the Dbacks. A World Series rematch. Absolutely love to see this 3-game winning streak after that horrendous 6-game losing streak that the Rangers turned in. And beyond the 6-game losing streak, it was something like 10 losses in 11 or 12 games. It was bad. It was not good. So I'm hopeful that the Rangers' last 3 wins, the win in Minnesota on Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, winning today, yesterday, catapults the Rangers into a good stretch of positive outcomes here. And like I said, going to Miami on paper, the Rangers should have a good series there. We'll preview that series a little bit for us. Not sure if the Rangers have a lot of their pitching matchups out at this point, but we'll see, and we'll try and kind of make some predictions about the series, considering who the Rangers are probably going to be throwing. But let's wrap up this game, shall we? By the way, let me check comments real quick. What's up, everybody? Aaron, what's up? Thanks for tuning in today. You just earned a subscriber. Thank you. I appreciate that. Natalie, what's up? Home plate umpire. Yep, I already kind of talked about this. Home plate umpire was bad today. Did not love the calls, but I feel like I'm saying that after every game. So I try to be careful. Don't want to sound like a broken record, but I do agree. Didn't love the home plate umpire today. Home plate umpire could have been a lot better. I'll be interested. I always look to see what the umpire scorecard comes out with. Scorecard is an account that I follow, a number of different platforms they post on, giving grades to the umpires, percentages, number of accurate strikes called, a number of accurate balls called in the game. Always interesting to see what it comes up with. So I'll be seeing what the home plate umpire today got for a grade from Scorecard. But I agree, umping behind home plate, not good today. Not good. So again, thank you everybody for tuning in. We are coming at you live after not 4-2, a 6-1. That was yesterday, 6-1 Rangers victory. So let's put a bow on this one here. So as we go up and down the lineup, Jankowski, I like the leadoff spot for him. Marcus Semien, of course, kind of a big deal. Semien not in the lineup. I really can't believe that they convinced that guy to take a day off. Marcus Semien is an absolute Iron Man. I did not think he was going to be missing a game this year at all. Of course, Marcus played all 162 games last year. Had to feel a little bit weird for him, if I had to guess, taking today off. I'm glad it was a mutual thing, though. They didn't have to twist his arm or force him to take a day off. Clearly, they're not really doing that. I think they could have done that at any point last year, but they're not forcing Simi to take days off. I'm glad that they came to him, thought that he probably needed a day, and he agreed. Off day tomorrow, so Simi gets 2 full days off. Apparently, from what I had heard, I was on Texas Rangers Fans Only earlier today. Kind of get a lot of my good news from there. Of course, I follow a lot of the Rangers beat writers as well, and the consensus was several games ago, I believe. I forget the exact game, but several games ago, Dolly and Simi collided on a fly ball. Dolly was coming in on the fly ball, Simi going out. Collision there, and Simi apparently still having some negative effects from that collision. Dolly is a big man, so I can't really blame Marcus for needing a day here, and clearly he had been gutting it out, playing through the injury. So props to Marcus. That dude has a ton of heart. He grinds out clearly as many games as he can. Last year to the tune of all 162, and this is his first off game today. So let's give Marcus Semien some love, some flowers, some props. Dude deserves them for playing, 300 plus games in a row. I forget what the streak was. It's pretty incredible. So Marcus Semien day off today. Travis Jankowski gets the leadoff spot. I like that move. I think Jankowski is probably your best bet there. He didn't do well today. He went 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. Not ideal for a leadoff guy. Even if a leadoff guy goes 0 for, you want to see the leadoff man putting the ball in play. Now, look, didn't watch every one of Jankowski's at-bats. Not sure if he was able to work some counts. I think I saw one particular comment during the game. I forget what platform, but I think he swung at the first pitch in one of his at-bats. Not super ideal for a leadoff guy. So hopefully in some of the other at-bats, he was able to work some counts, but not a great day from Jankowski. But at the end of the day, we know where Jankowski belongs in this lineup. He's a bottom of the order hitter, and you're expecting 250 out of him, maybe a 350 OBP. That might be a little bit too high of an expectation, but right now, Travis Jankowski on the season, hitting 247. OBP is slightly over 300 at this point. So I would like to see Travis take some more walks in his last 30 games, 66 at bats. Travis has only walked twice. So I do think Jankowski, for as much as we love El Blondie, got to walk a little bit more. Would like to see him have a little bit of a better eye up there. Now, 214 average in his last 7 games. 227 average in his last 30 games. Again, hitting 247 on the season. Travis goes 2 for 3 last night, I believe. but would be nice to see him improve his eye at the plate. Only 2 walks in your last 30 games. A guy like Jankowski needs to be getting on base more, working the pitchers, making them throw more, getting the pitch count up and getting deep into at bats. So that is one area I would like to see Travis improve in terms of his game. Siegs, we talked about him already. What can you say? On base twice. Technically, the intentional walk counts as 1, home run counts as 2. And Corey Seager is just on one right now, on an absolute heater. You love to see it. And again, really, really glad to see runners on base for Seager, not hitting solo shots like he'd been doing for most of this home run streak, home run tear that he's been on. So glad to see a runner on base for him in that moment. I believe Zeke Duran was on after a base knock. So glad to see some base runners on for Seager. So when he does his damage, we are putting up the most runs possible on the other team. So glad to see Siegs continuing on his hot tear. Hopefully it can just keep continuing. I'll tell you what, Ryan Nelson had actually done a pretty good job against the Rangers in the past, although for those of you that were able to watch the video that I put out before the game, Seager had a ground rule double off Nelson in the World Series. Jonah Heim had hit a home run off Nelson in the World Series. So we kind of predicted both Heim and Seager before the game would have a productive day at the plate. Pat on the back for us. Yay, us. We occasionally, like once every 10 games, get a prediction right. We're predicting scores every game, and we predict some guys that are going to step up and have a big game. Probably better than 1 for 10. I'm probably being a little too tough on myself, but we did call before the game Siegs to have a big day, Jonah Heim to have a big day. Fortunately, both those things come true today. I believe we said 6-3 on final score. I kind of thought for a second maybe my prediction was going to be coming true. So Rangers get 6 today. Diamondbacks looked like they might get 3 in the top of the 9th inning. Happy they didn't. So I'll take the 6-1 victory. Only off on that perfect score prediction by 2 runs. We have not predicted a perfect score yet this season. There's still obviously 100 plus games for it to happen, but we will surely celebrate that one when we can get it right. Fortunately, we haven't been betting our final score predictions. We'd be out a lot of money if that was going on. And to be honest, with how the Rangers have been playing of late with our system, betting 1 cent on Texas Rangers money line for every follower that we have, it's already kind of been going a little bit downhill. So we're hoping for the Rangers to rebound, to get on a good winning streak and put our system back in the black. Man, would that be nice. I think we are still down a couple $100 on the season. It's a long, long season, y'all. So we are not getting too high or too low. I kind of always said if the Rangers do get below 10 games below 500, you'll probably see a little bit of panic out of me. But at the same time, I really feel confident the Rangers will rebound, get back in the positive in terms of their win-loss record, and have a solid end of the season, especially as they get more guys back healthy. All right, back to the box score here. Josh Smith goes 1 for 4 from the 3 spot. Runs scored. His average is up to 280 on the season. Dolly does not get a hit today, but one thing I really wanted to make sure that I noted today before I got on, Adolis Garcia with 3 walks today. That's huge. That is huge to see Dolly walking 3 times, because the big thing with Dolly is when he's patient up at the plate, when he's taking pitches, not swinging at junk, that's when he is his most dangerous. So my hope is that today the 3 walks, the good eye that he's been demonstrating up at the plate is going to put him on a positive trajectory back towards the Dolly that we all know and love up at the plate. Obviously, last night showing off why he's got that gold glove, why he has got an absolute laser for an arm, gunning down Jock Peterson, which would have made it a 1-run ball game at that point. It was 4-2 at the time. Peterson scoring would have made it 4-3. So Dolly reminding us of that excellent gold glove defense last night, and today reminding us of the patience that he displayed at the end of last season, which ultimately, in my opinion, made him the dangerous hitter, the extremely dangerous hitter that he was for us in the postseason. So I know that in the box score, it doesn't look gaudy, but I think those 3 walks that Dolly had today could possibly be a kickstart for him locking in and becoming that hitter that we came to absolutely laud and love in the postseason last year on the way to a Rangers World Series championship. All right, let's finish up. Nate Lowe today goes 0 for 3 with an RBI. Nate Lowe grounded into a double play, and that was able to make it a 2-0 ball game. I believe that was in the bottom of the fourth inning. Was really hopeful that Nate was going to be able to come through in that spot. He's shown some flashes, but average is down to 254. So look, Nate Lowe clearly needing some things to start going right for himself. In a little bit of a slump right now. If we look at Nate Lowe's numbers, let's do a deep dive on Nate Lowe over the past 15 games. I don't think we're going to love what we see, and we don't. Nate Lowe, last 15 games, batting 151, and he has 18 strikeouts over his last 15 games. That's never great. Does have a home run and 6 RBI, but Nate Lowe, batting 151 over the past 15 games. Not ideal. We hope Nate can get back into a groove. In the bottom of the fourth inning, was really hopeful that was going to be happening with a big hit or at least a solid drive to the outfield. But Nate Lowe grounded into a double play in that spot. Hey, look, at least they score a run. I know we've been super hard on the Rangers for their lack of situational hitting. That is a situation where a ground ball right side does wonders. Just score a run. So you know what? Nate Lowe does ground into a double play in that spot. Didn't have an amazing day at the plate today, but Nate Lowe did execute the situational hitting when he had to. Ground ball right side, even though it is a double play, it scores a run. And that is really all you need in that moment. When it's a one-run ball game, you just want to tack on and give your team more cushion. So look, 0 for day for Nate Lowe, batting 151 in his last 15 games. But let's give him some props. He comes through in the bottom of the fourth with very solid situational hitting and extends the lead, doubles the Rangers' lead from 1-0 to 2-0. So hopefully Nate can have some more positive stat lines moving forward here, but glad he was able to come through in that spot. Wyatt Langford, we talked about him. Nice day for him at the plate, going 2 for 4 with an RBI. Average is up to 228 on the season. I think Wyatt is kind of teetering a little bit on the Evan Carter trajectory, if we're being honest. I don't know how many more weeks Wyatt Langford is going to be able to struggle, and the Rangers just keep him up on the big league club. So I really am hopeful that Langford is going to get on a little bit of a tear here. My big thing with Langford is I really want the power to come back. It's a lot of singles for Langford. Even in his AAA rehab stint, it was nothing but singles. Langford's got some raw power that I hope he can start tapping into. A lot of singles so far from Langford this year. When he's at his best, he's driving the ball. I did a reel in the offseason. Wyatt Langford, granted with a metal bat, right, has the record for the longest home run ever hit at the College World Series in Omaha at the new ballpark there, which is a beautiful park, by the way, if you've never been. Little side note. Wyatt Langford, though, holds that record for the longest shot at the current ballpark in Omaha for the College World Series. The dude has raw power. It just hasn't been on display, and we have not seen it yet in this major league season. I really hope that that comes back for Langford. I really do feel like that is what he needs, and that is going to be the moment when the power year. And so I really think that Wyatt Langford, we're going to be able to talk over there. I know I appreciate joining us, and everybody that's with me on my other spots. Let me X out of a few things. Maybe the connection will improve a little bit. So I'm sorry about that. Hoping to get reconnected. Again, my apologies. We got a little bit of a new setup today, so we X'd out of a few things, and we're hopeful that maybe we'll get back on track. So my apologies for the choppiness today. Like I said, new setup. Thanks for hanging with me. I'm going to get it perfect eventually. So by the way, little story time here. So for a long, long time, just so you guys know, full disclosure, my studio for Right on Rangers has been my garage for the longest time. But now that it is full blast summertime here in Vegas, it gets a little warm out there. So I moved things into my house here. We've got a little bit of a clunky setup. Hopefully, you'll never know it, but we are testing out a couple of new things today. So I appreciate y'all's patience. Thanks for hanging in with me today. All right, story time over. Let's finish things out. Jonah Heim goes 2 for 4. Jonah Heim looked really, really good, driving the ball the opposite way in the early innings. Of course, Jonah Heim gets the game-winning RBI today. So a lot of positive things for the Rangers moving forward. I think today is one of those days, again, you say to yourself, could this be the day that the Rangers break out, have a nice day at the plate? So hopefully that is true. Now let's go ahead and let's go to the weekend series with the Marlins. Let's see if there's anything posted for starters. Ooh, kind of a fun matchup on Friday. Here. So we've got Urania starting against Miami. For those of you that know, Jose Urania came up with the Marlins, so it'll be a return to Miami for Jose Urania. Hopefully that'll give him a little extra motivation to pitch even better than what he's already been pitching. So Jose Urania will get the start for the Rangers on Friday. And then we've got Cito Sanchez. He will be opposing Urania. 6.25 ERA on the year for Sanchez. So I really think that the Rangers are going to have an opportunity this weekend to get the bats going. There are a few Marlins pitchers that have been doing pretty well this year. The only thing, as I'm looking at it right now, it does look like the Marlins are going to try and throw 2 lefties at us this series. So maybe the only cause for concern looks like the Marlins will be throwing Weathers on Saturday, and they'll be throwing Trevor Rogers on Sunday. So hopefully the Rangers can crack that lefty code, but the Marlins are going to be doing everything they can to try and prevent us from having a good weekend series in Miami, throwing 2 lefties. But we will see the righty Sanchez on Friday. So I think the Rangers, a solid goal for them this weekend should be 2 out of 3 games. Take 2 out of 3. I think that's a very solid goal for them. Hopefully that is what happens. Hey, we'll take a sweep, but I'm going to have an expectation of 2 out of 3. Getting that Friday night game always goes a long way, especially with 2 lefties coming up and how the Rangers have struggled against lefties. I would really love to see them get that win on Friday night. Then you're kind of playing a little bit to an extent with house money. You have an opportunity both on Saturday, and then on Sunday to come out, get a win against the left-handed pitcher, something the Rangers have struggled with. I mean, that being said, both of these lefties, if we look at their stats, so Weathers has a 3.16 ERA on the season, but then Rogers, 5.65 ERA. Now, the Rangers have had a bad habit of making mediocre left-handed pitchers look like Randy Johnson out there just slinging it. But, I really feel like eventually you're just looking at the numbers. The Rangers have got to break out against one of these left-handed pitchers. It's got to happen at some point, right? Right? I mean, at some point, I would think the Rangers are going to have a good day against the lefty. Hopefully it's this weekend against the Marlins. Let me check comments here as we start closing things up. Natalie, yeah, Langford playing left field every day. When Carter comes back, we'll see how he does in his rehab stint, how long he's out, all that good stuff. I really do think that Langford and Carter really could stand to be given the solid opportunity to have every day playing time. I really feel like that is something that has affected Carter. I know some people automatically go to the injury. Look, the injury very well could be the only contributing factor to Evan Carter struggling so much. I happen to think it's probably a little bit of a 50-50 thing, out of rhythm, not getting to play every day. But then also, yes, you're having that nagging back injury. I could absolutely see why that would be causing Evan Carter to not be himself completely up at the plate. And if we're being honest, Evan Carter hasn't looked completely like himself out in the field either. Feel like he's kind of been making some bad reads out there, not running down and tracking down some fly balls that he usually does. So we'll see if this time off does help Evan Carter to get back on track. I really would love to see that. Absolutely. Now, let's take a look at scores from around the AL West today. I do not believe there's a lot of other teams playing right now. I think the A's game just started. The A's are in Tampa. That game is 0-0 in the bottom of the third inning. Beyond that, looks like the Angels and Yankees are playing in Anaheim later tonight. That's an 8:38 Texas time start. Mariners Astros will be playing at 8:40 Texas time. So, by the way, yesterday, I believe the Astros were able to pull off the. Oh, no, they weren't. Okay. So the Astros went ahead 2-1. The Mariners pulled off the late inning comeback. So the Astros did drop a game back from us in the standings. It's kind of hard to know who to root for in this one. Do you want Mariners winning and maintaining their lead over us, or do you want to see Houston go further and further back? It's a little bit of a toss up for me. If I'm being honest, I really don't know what the best case scenario is there. I do like them just beating up on each other. Can we get somebody winning one and somebody winning two? I don't want to see a sweep either way. Hopefully, the Stros can get one, the Mariners can get two. I think that's probably the best you're going to get. But beyond that, that's really all that we have for today. So no other games final in the AL West at this point. But let's go ahead and take a final look at the standings before we wrap things up. So we've got the Mariners, of course, in the lead, 3 games up of the Texas Rangers. They would extend that to 3.5 games with a win tonight. You've got the Houston Astros back 5.5 games. They would go back to, I believe, 6 games with a loss tonight. 6.5 with a loss tonight. And then the A's 7 games back, Angels 8 games back. So there's the AL West roundup for you. By the way, if you're still watching, if you would give me a comment, let me know how the quality of the stream is, if you wouldn't mind. If it improved a little bit, if it got a little bit better, tried to make a couple of adjustments. If somebody could let me know, I would greatly appreciate it. My test that I'm doing here, it looks like it's kind of evened out, hopefully a little bit. But if you'd be so kind, let me know if things are evening out a little bit with the quality of the stream. Like I said, new setup today. We're happy about it, but there's going to be some kinks to work out along the way. So now that we've gone through the AL West, we've got the matchup for Friday kind of set here. We got Sanchez versus Urena. Jose Urena has been pitching great. We're looking forward to a good weekend series in Miami. Hopefully the Rangers will continue this winning streak that they're on, having won 3 games. We will be going live after every game in the Miami series, breaking it down for you guys, hanging out, talking Rangers baseball. And as I always say towards the end of the lives, thank you so much for all of you that watch today, whether you're watching live or after the fact. Know that I really appreciate it. And my humble request is always, if you know a Rangers fan, if you know a fan of Major League Baseball, send this video to them, right? Let them know about this account. I would really appreciate it. Let's get more and more good people talking about baseball, talking about the Rangers. Obviously, we like talking Rangers. We love talking Rangers, but we like to talk other things in baseball as well, too. So we'll always cover a number of different topics throughout our show and in our reels throughout the summer and into the fall months as baseball winds down towards the postseason. By the way, if we're just looking around the league right now, Paul Skeens, 9 Ks today on his 22nd birthday. That dude is just absolutely dominating right now for the Pirates. Paul Skeens on fire. It is fun to watch him pitch, man. I mean, that is just quite the draft pick, isn't it? When you just fall right into a guy like that. Paul Skeens just lighting it up ever since he stepped foot into the big leagues. He's fun to watch. I got to admit, I don't watch a lot of other teams play, but I do like to tune in when Paul Skeens pitches. That dude is an incredible, incredible talent and a lot of fun. Would highly recommend it. If you've never seen Paul Skeens pitch, even on TV, go watch it. It is fun to watch. That dude is a dominant thrower of the baseball. All right, let's take a look at maybe some other stats going on around the league. Some other news, I should say, not stats. Kind of a little bit of a debate in baseball right now with the Negro League stats being added into the MLB record. Now, if I'm being completely honest and candid with my thoughts on that, it's not something that really bothers me big time. I think I saw some baseball purists a little bit upset about it, but look, from everything that I've been able to gather, all the research I've done in the game of baseball. So take this for what it's worth, right? I really feel like the talent in the Negro Leagues was just as good, just as good as the talent that was in the major leagues. And I know that the argument can go a number of different ways, but who knows what some of the stats would have been of major league players back during that time if you would have had some of the best players from the Negro Leagues playing in the major leagues. Now, obviously, with Jackie Robinson and some of the other players from the Negro Leagues that crossed that color barrier and ended up playing in the majors, you were able to see how much talent the Negro Leagues actually had. So it's a tough argument, in my opinion. That being said, I appreciate, I think at the end of the day, the recognition that those players are getting now. I know some of y'all know I'm a MLB The Show fan, and I really appreciate the series that MLB The Show did on the Negro Leagues, highlighting some of the best players from that time period that never got a chance at the major leagues, or by the time the color barrier was broken, were too old and really would not have been able to contribute at the high level that they did when they were in their prime. So I'm a fan of these stats being recognized. Look, how much does it really do? How impactful is it really? I think that's still yet to be determined. But I will say, by and large, my perspective on it is I'm glad that some of these players that never got an opportunity to play in the major leagues because of racism and how things were back during that time period, I'm glad that they're getting recognized right now. And some of the stories from players in the Negro Leagues are pretty cool if you've never checked them out. I know I've really enjoyed learning about it. Would highly recommend it if you haven't. Beyond that, I don't think there's a whole lot else that we're going to be covering today. We've already been yapping on long enough. So we will go ahead and sign off for today. Tomorrow, Mavs game 5. Can they close it out? I thought last night was going to be the game. Anytime you're up 3-0 and they start throwing out those stats like no team has ever come back from a 3-0 deficit in the NBA, I always start getting a little bit nervous on the inside. I'm not going to lie to you, but I really do feel confident that the Mavs are going to close it out. Are they going to get the job done tomorrow night? I don't know, but I really have a hard time believing that the Timberwolves are going to be winning the next 3 games. I think that is pretty highly unlikely. I still feel pretty confident the Mavs get it done. I don't know if it's going to be in 5. I can't see it going past 6, though. Once it goes back home to Dallas, if it even gets there, I think that's going to be the cutoff at that point. So I'm saying Mavs in 6 at minimum, but it could be Mavs in 5. I could easily see Luka, Kyrie coming out and just absolutely lighting it up in Minneapolis, much like they did in game 1 and in game 2. All right, y'all. Stars tonight, right? Stars tonight. Hey, look, I know I'm repping the Golden Knights today. You know, been in Vegas for a long time. Big Golden Knights fan. Stars were my childhood team. Anytime the Knights are out, more than happy to cheer on the Stars. Cheered for the Stars for many years growing up as a child in the DFW area. So the Stars always have a special place in my heart. I sure hope that they can continue their success. Real fun that we've got Mavs and Stars in both Western Conference finals. I love it. So wishing positive vibes for the Stars today. Hopefully they can get a win and continue on towards their quest for a Stanley Cup. It's been a while since they got there and since they won it. I would love to see both the Mavs and the Stars playing for a championship. Man, that would be a lot of fun. Well, all right, y'all. Hope you have a great rest of your Wednesday. We'll be off tomorrow, so we might put out a video, maybe cutting something from this podcast. Maybe not. We'll kind of see how the day goes, see how lazy we feel. You know how it goes, but we'll be back Friday for sure. We'll put out a video sometime in the afternoon before Friday night's game. and we'll go from there. Hopefully, we'll see y'all this weekend on a live at some point. If not, hope y'all have a great weekend. Hopefully, you can catch us on a replay at some time. And as we always say, as we always close out our show, we'll say, God bless, go Rangers. Hope y'all have a